It's been a short, strange trip for Puddle of Mudd, but it's also been a successful one. The band, still in its infancy, has seen a new lineup, a new record label, and now a follow-up to their hit-filled first album. This is Puddle of Mudd. There's lead singer Wes Scantlin from Kansas City, Doug Ardito, the band's bassist, born in Massachusetts, guitarist Paul Phillips from Jacksonville, Florida, and the backbone of this band, drummer Greg Upchurch of Kingston, Oklahoma. Between their diverse hometowns and their massive amount of touring, Puddle of Mudd has covered a lot of ground. But now they've covered even more. This September, Puddle of Mudd dropped the tour bus and hopped a plane to play for U.S. troops in Iraq and Germany.
You know, it sounded a little bit scary for a second, and I think everybody was a little nervous at first, but we all just agreed to do it, and we thought it would be, you know, our duty as, you know, fellow Americans to go over there and play some good rock and roll music for the GIs. I almost felt like we all became family for, you know, that one day we were there. It was just, they were so appreciative and everything. I feel like everybody there is like a brother or a sister of mine that I'd never met.
From what you see on TV and stuff, whenever it's like we were in a movie almost. From the story that we actually saw firsthand what's going on, and it wasn't what I expected. I mean, it's just as far as being there. I mean, it was definitely a serious thing. I mean, it's heavy.
Closing out the show in Iraq, there was just one more stop for Puddle of Mudd, a visit to Gießen, Germany to welcome home the 1st Armored Division. After giving the troops a good dose of rock and roll, it was now time for the band to head home too.
It was the first time I had ever seen girls with machine guns. And
Navy journalist James Schultz backstage.
I kind of liked it, actually. I thought it was pretty cool.
On this edition of On the Rocks, we're going to hitch a ride with the MWR tour office and go check out the Golden Circle Tour.
First stop on the tour is Thingvellir, where Iceland's first parliament was established. But more than being just beautiful, back in 930 AD, this is where high crimes were punished, in the drowning pool. So now we're at Geyser, a park that's filled with geysers, and most notably, the legendary geyser called Geyser. Let's go have a look at some of these geysers.
Another stop on the Golden Circle Tour is the enormous waterfall known as Gullfoss. Let's go take a closer look.
It's the best known of the natural wonders in Iceland. Make sure to pack a poncho. The falls kick off a heavy mist. Last stop on the Golden Circle Tour is the lake-filled extinct volcano crater Kyrd. Have a good look before the tour bus heads down the road.
You know that chick that used to dance a lot?
So that's going to do it for this edition of On the Rocks. But if you're interested in taking your own tour, just call up the MWR tour office or check them out on the website. And we'll see you next time on The Rocks.
And that time over at Johnny's place, well, this chick got up and she slapped Johnny's face. Man, we just fell about the place.
standing in a line this long at the grand opening of Taco Bell and A&W.
Can I have 2 number 1?
When you've gone up to 2 years in Iceland without a taco or that root beer float, the wait becomes well worth it.
What am I having? Taco Bell. It's been so long.
Root beer floats that I haven't had for like 6 months.
Soft tacos, no cheese.
I think it's important to give the folks here something a little bit different every once in a while, a little bit of variety in their lives.
Some have the taste for Taco Bell.
Gorditas.
Others like the flavor of A&W.
I want A&W, a burger. I don't know what burger I want, though.
Whatever you get at the end of the line,
2 bean burritos, no onion.
now there's a lot more to choose from when you get there. For the Naval Media Center, I'm Petty Officer James Schultz. Banging on bongos, strumming a guitar. Just a taste of this year's talent show hosted by the Cultural Awareness Committee. Nathan Stebbins performed 2 acoustic songs with his friend Randy Dahl.
Well, I've done it for 3 years in a row. He's done it for 2 years.
About a dozen acts performed, including dancers, singers, and stompers. For Nathan, it was his first time singing in front of an audience.
I'm more nervous singing in front of like a whole group of people that like 12 people that I know, rather than singing in front of like a big crowd of people.
Nathan didn't walk away with a prize from the talent show, but he left doing all right for himself.
Like, it was kind of like a victory for me because I never like sung in front of people or anything.
For AFN Keflavik, I'm Navy journalist James Schultz. The music world and fans around the world were saddened to hear about the loss of BG Maurice Gibb to heart failure in early 2003. And although Maurice, a key member of the band, had passed, the musical spirit of the Bee Gees was to live on through his brother and fellow Bee Gee, Robin Gibb.
I see myself still a Bee Gee, singing our music. So, and that's a very important thing to me. And particularly since Maurice is not with us anymore, it has a different meaning.
Robin Gibb launched his solo tour in Germany, and AFN got access behind the scenes for a rare look at a concert rehearsal. Belting out his #1 hits from his glory days with the Bee Gees, and some new scores as well, those in attendance were impressed with how well an orchestra accompanied the superstar.
Well, we've been in front of orchestras quite a lot in our career, and also in the studio we've had to use quite a few big orchestras, particularly in New York at the recording studios. We've always used live orchestras on our records.
An example of the Bee Gees working with an orchestra that's not soon to be forgotten is their contribution to the movie Saturday Night Fever. Though the movie launched John Travolta's career into stardom, Robin Gibb says the Bee Gees would have succeeded with or without it.
In America, we were having #1 records right up until the time Fever came out. So it wouldn't have really mattered to us if Fever came or not.
Maybe so, but the kind of success the band had surely would have been different. The soundtrack they set for Saturday Night Fever became the soundtrack for the disco generation, and it was a soundtrack that would be loved and parodied and parodied and parodied. But just as those who love the Bee Gees have had a little fun with them, so have the Bee Gees had a little fun with the band that they love.
Well, to me, it'll always be the Beatles, because they were our earliest influences, because they're songwriters. And they were the first group that we ever looked to for that songwriting inspiration, because they came up before we did, and we looked to them, we saw they were a group, they would harmonize, they were writing songs, and that to us is what a group should be.
The Bee Gees' homage to the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band starred all 3 of the Bee Gees alongside Peter Frampton. The movie wasn't the success that Saturday Night Fever was. In fact, it was a box office bomb. But the Bee Gees always have more in store. If something doesn't work on the silver screen, it's simple. They just come up with another way to express themselves.
There is a musical being made by the Bee Gees, about the Bee Gees in a biography state that's coming out in the West End and Broadway next year, and that's actually being put together now.
If you can't wait for the musical, then check Robin Gibb out on tour, or just toss his new album, Magnet, into the CD player. For other musical inspiration, you can take Robin's advice and give the Beatles a listen. Or just listen to what Robin's got playing in his car.
It's actually Mozart, was in my... Mozart.
Navy journalist James Schultz,
Funnily enough, because it's the only stuff that lasts longer than 3 minutes.
reporting from backstage.
Okay.